Oh, this dude got his bracelet taken again. After all those months, he finally got the bracelet back. He's smiling, he's happy, there's light at the end of the tunnel, he's got a new lease on life. There's a bright future ahead. And oh, baka! He's taken out. The bracelet is off his wrist again. In fact, it gets ripped apart. Half the beads fly over the ring. The other half gets stuffed in the dude's mouth. Whether you love CM Punk or you don't, you gotta feel bad for him. He was so happy. He had his bracelet. Why? I'm like, why are you bringing the bracelet 2 days after you just got it back to the same place you know Drew McIntyre works? Why? Just leave the bracelet at home. It's like if you're cheating on your wife and you're going to see your side chick, you wouldn't bring your wedding ring to the cheap motel. You leave it somewhere. You're going right back to work 2 days later. Leave the bracelet at home. Oh, man, CM Punk, he had his sights set on Gunther and the world title, and Drew Mac said, hold my coffee. I don't think so. We're going to talk all about it in this review, trust me. What a segment. 2 segments, actually. What happened after we came back from break was absolutely wild. We're also going to talk a segment that is so baffling. It makes you just want to take your dome piece, find the nearest brick wall, and just start slamming it into it. Like you ever play the video game Mario Brothers? And you gotta keep banging your dome piece into the bricks to get coins. Doing, 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 doing. The more bonks, the more coins. You wanted to do that after this segment last night. It involved the ladies, a tag team match, and what happened post-match. It's absolutely baffling. That's all I'm going to give you in the opening teaser. We're going to talk about it in this review. We're going to talk about all 3 hours. Monday Night Raw, 9/2/24, post Bash in Berlin. BC is going to take you guys to an opening signature so I can start up a fresh coffee. Maybe I think we're going to do Folgers, yes. Or do I do Dunkin'? Are we feeling Dunkin'? No, we're going to go Folgers. I'm going to fire up a fresh coffee, take you guys to an opening signature. During that opening signature, I need you to smash that up button. Smash that up. Help BC know you're fully amplified, but also help out that algorithm. Smash the up and get amplified, because we're going to do this Raw review right now. All right, unit, Raw 9/2/2024, Joe Tessitore's first Monday Night Raw, first gig in WWE alongside Wade Barrett, your new Raw commentary team. Oh, it's a great sound. There it is. The Folgers is ready to rock. Now we gonna get amplified. A freshly brewed Folgers. And we're gonna drink this straight black, guys. It's a Monday Night Raw review. Ain't no need for some cream and sugar. We're gonna do it straight black because... No, not New Day Rocks. Because the best part of waking up, it's Folgers in your cup. Folgers, it's in your motherfucking cup. Salute, unit. Ah, that's gonna hit the spot. Guys, before we get into anything, we'll talk Joe Tessitore's performance over Monday Night Raw alongside Wade Barrett. A lot to get to with that. Also some news. Asuka, from what we are hearing, has signed or re-signed with the WWE. I don't think that was ever in question, like Natty was, or even Becky Lynch. We do expect Becky to return to WWE, but there's a lot of... They're not seeing eye to eye on this contract. They can't dot those I's and cross those T's, Becky Lynch and WWE, so there's some tension there. And then there's, of course, Natty, as I just brought up. We expect her to show up in Calgary next Monday. Valkyria and Zelina Vega kind of made reference to that last night, or at least Val did to Zelina. So Natty next week, her return. But Asuka, she's been gone for a while with that injury. While she's been away, not just rehabbing, but she has renegotiated a new deal with the WWE. Good to see Asuka back in the imminent future. Odyssey Jones, we are hearing he's been removed from the roster page. That's confirmed. I always keep a lockdown on that roster page. I did notice that he was removed and then put back on to about 2 to 3 hours afterwards, is how it was told to me. And then 30 minutes later, I believe is what I was told, he was re-removed. So Odyssey Jones, on, off, on again and off again. And then he did not show up to Monday Night Raw last night. No Xavier either. It was really weird, man. Kofi was just in a 3-second backstage segment. Like somebody was just walking by. Maybe it was a Strowman or a Braun Breaker. Somebody was walking by Kofi trying to talk to Adam Pearce. So something's going on with Odyssey Jones. BC's going to try to find out exactly what that is for you guys. So that's just some news. Asuka re-signed. Odyssey Jones might be out. And I'm more than okay with that. I straight up, I could not care less about this whole Kofi Kingston, Odyssey Jones, Xavier Woods thing going on. If that's how Xavier is turning and Odyssey is just the new bootleg Big E, because that's all Odyssey would be. The new bootleg Big E. So I don't, listen, Odyssey, the dude was on the roster for over a year. Nobody knew about it, right? Like Veer, they both veered into the woods, took a bad detour, and never showed up to Raw. When Veer finally did, he was basically institutionalized. He wanted to go right back to the woods. Veer showed up for maybe a cup of coffee, and then Veer was gone. Well, Odyssey showed up for a sip of coffee, and then he's like, deuces, oozes. Odyssey could be out of WWE. I got to find out more. And as I said, another big story that isn't exactly attached to Raw itself performance-wise, but Joe Tessitore's first night behind the commentary table on headset with Wade Barrett. My initial thought, I will give you guys this. My initial thought is Joe Tessitore might have it. He might have it, man. He's got to find those moments to get more amplified, but he's got the voice for it. He's got the good nature to it. He's got the flow to it. He's got a lot of that it factor that a lot of people before him unfortunately didn't have. That the Kevin Patricks could not understand, could not gravitate to, could not learn. Jimmy Smith could not learn some of the ways to call professional wrestling, man, especially a 3-hour show. Adnan Virk and so many others, don't get me started. This, from the jump, had potential. A lot of growth needs to happen, but for week 1, and BC's not wanting to put his dome piece through the brick wall, that's a good thing. Joe Tessitore. I kind of feel bad because right off the jump, he kind of had his biggest botch of the night came during the introductions of the first match. We'll go over that when we get to it. But that's where I felt bad. And then they went to commercial. I'm like, oh no, the poor dude got the wording mixed up. All right, so let's jump into this, guys. We're going to go Rhea Ripley starting the show. That's how we're going to start this thing. Welcome to Monday Night Mommy. I told you guys, you still hear Welcome to Monday Night Raw every single Monday. That's a Vince McMahon thing, and that shows you that WWE Universe, Welcome to Monday Night Raw, all these things, these Vince McMahon-isms, a lot of them are sticking around. That goes to show you Vince is yelling at Hunter Hearst Helmsley at the dinner table, right? Stephanie, push back. I want to see Hunter. You leave Monday Night. Welcome to Monday Night Raw. You keep that. And we are a universe. Damn it. We're a universe. And Hunter's like, oh, I'm just trying to enjoy my mashed potatoes, Vince. It's Mr. McMahon. So a lot of these things you're still seeing around. Rhea Ripley continued tradition, but at least she switched it up, right? Welcome to Monday Night Mommy. Listen, that's better than the Monday Night Messiah or Monday Night, whatever else they tried to throw at us, right? Every wrestler has a cute little Monday Night Mommy. BC was like, wait, that actually works. Monday Night Mommy, man. Put that on a shirt. That'll sell a couple 2-3. Calls out Liv Morgan, but gets Dominik Mysterio instead. A lot of boos for Dominik. There's times where it's fun, right? And you're like, oh man, Dominik's catching that natural heel heat. And then there's times where it truly does feel either piped in or forced. Not saying it is, but it's like, all right, we're stopping too much now. Now it's like, all right, we do have to get on with the promo. Last night, I mean, we just spent 5 minutes with probably 60% maybe of the crowd booing Dominik, so it didn't warrant 5 minutes of just being that flustered. And then he starts yelling in Spanish. Like, it's like, all right, we're gonna do this shtick for 5 minutes, man. It's got to be careful. That's starting to get a little old. I love natural heat, man, and if somebody's gonna get booed like that, yes. But if it's not 80, 90, 100% of the crowd, then just keep going, bro. Or at least stop a couple 2-3 times, not a couple 8-9 times. Anyway, Dominik Mysterio, Rhea Ripley back and forth verbally. But it's all a setup as Morgan would attack Rhea Ripley, kind of taking out her knee. Or at least her leg, swiping her, getting her caught up in the top rope on the outside. Looks like they're going to do some damage, but it's Damien Priest for the save. Priest hits the ring. Morgan and Mysterio run off. Guys, we have to amplify this story. That was the first segment. And then we went to commercial break. So let me recap. It's nothing that you haven't, right? This isn't nitpicking. It's nothing we have not seen in recent weeks and months. And it's just in some variation, right? But it's just Dominik and Rhea just saying words. Liv comes in to attack. Damien for the save. Heels run away. First commercial. No, bro. It's a top of a 3-hour show. You have to get more creative than that. We did keep going back to it. They would use the leg injury during the main event. Even though Rhea and Liv were not a part of the actual match, they were involved in it. And the leg injury was being sold, and still is, by the way. So they're going to go with that. I like that idea because Liv Morgan is, I mean, Rhea Ripley right now, there's not a lot that can top her, right? Mommy's always on top. Well, this is literally and figuratively. Little Liv Morgan, who's on her A game, who is doing amazing work, who keeps getting better and better every week. But still, it's a mismatch, correct? BC can speak, more coffee. It's a mismatch. But if you have a one-legged Rhea, well, that just got evened out a lot. So I like the concept. It's just the beginning of a 3-hour television show. I mean, there's not many shows that are 3 hours, guys, right? Your sitcom, your Friends, your Seinfeld, whatever sitcom you watch. It's half an hour, or you can have an hour-long drama. Or an hour-long sitcom. 3 hours, though. Drama, sitcom. There's not many movies that are 3 hours. My point is that you want to start this, like, fun, right? You want to be like, all right, this remote down the next 3 hours. Hopefully, this is going to be entertaining. The first segment was just a lot of the same characters doing the same things. Blah, 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 blah. Boom, boom, boom. Uh-oh, here comes da-da-da. I'm going to run away. Good break. Hopefully you guys got all that. Blah, 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 blah. Here go. Oh, no. Yeah, man, it was all the same. Come on, we got to get amplified at the beginning of the show. It's just as important as the finish of the show. I always say that. The beginning is just as important as the finish. Sometimes even more important. So that's how we started the show off. Just these 4 participants from the mixed tag on Saturday's Bash in Berlin, just kind of still going at it. The main event would then be set up during the show. It would be Jason Uso, Damien Priest versus Finn Balor and JD McDonald's of Judgment Day. The stipulation, no French fries and McNuggies allowed at ringside. Oh, BC's on it today. I got full transparency, even though it's early in the morning still. I already had 3 coffees. Man, what can I do, man? 2 Dunkins, and I also had a Lavazza. Those are strong. So now we're just going to straight up Black Folgers. As I told you, it's going to be an amplified review. We go into the first matchup of the night. This was American Made versus Alpha Academy. Again. So I think I think Hunter believes that most of us will just invest into the fact that this is a storyline. If we just have everyone face each other every week in some variation, the fans will look at that as a storyline, so we don't have to do anything. But fans like BC, we're not going to look at it like that, man. We need more substance. You can't just throw the same people in the ring every week, have them fight, throw punches, pin each other. You won last week, man. I got to win this week, right? It's like the kids that are fighting over the front seat. I got shotgun, man. Come on, man. You got it last time. It's like, yeah, you pinned me last. Who pinned who? Okay, you got the W 2 weeks ago. And then I think it was Maxine that beat a Ivy. So you know what? Let's have Ivy tap out Maxine this week. And we're just 50-50 booking. So American Made Alpha Academy. This was a 6-person mixed tag. I'm just thinking about Joe Tessitore. The poor guy, right? It's the first matchup of his hopefully long, illustrious WWE pro wrestling career behind the commentary table on headset. But Joe Tessitore is like a 6-team person tag. Like a 6-team? What are we doing? Tag team turmoil? How many recruits does Chad Gable have now? And ex-recruits. Who the heck did Maxine pull in? She has a whole modeling agency now. Fucking, you're gonna see Massey. And who was the other one? There was Massey and oh no, who was the other guy, man? Mansoor. Didn't they like spiff that up? Mansoor? I don't even know, man. It's 6-team mixed person mixed tag. I'm like, oh no, Joe. And then you just heard silence, right? And I'm sure that's like Hunter or whoever on headset, Bruce Pritchard, somebody was like, Mike, deep breath, you got this. We're going to put up the graphic. Just read that. And then a graphic shows what it is. And then he's like, a 6-person mixed tag when we come back. And then we go to break. It's a little thing. Hey, listen, Joe Tessitore was good last night. For his first time, there is so much potential. BC is not hating this idea. But that was rough, man. You actually felt for the dude. It's like, oh no, right from the jump. In the match itself, Ivy Nile taps out Maxine. And with the quickness, the second Ivy locked in that submission, Maxine was like, Uncle, get me out of this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be here. Maxine was just, she's like, I just came to shake my ass. I don't know what Maxine was doing. Toward the finish of this match, Maxine looks right at the hard camera. Forget she's in a wrestling match or just doesn't care. Looks at the hard camera and just starts slowly shaking her ass and like basically almost twerking. But slowly, just whoever's in the front row behind her is like just mesmerized, right? That's all the dudes. That's a lot better than Kofi Kingston going in there and doing his little New Day booty shake. That's Maxine, man. The whole front row is like, oh, I am getting sleepy. I'm entering Maxine world. I don't know what she was doing. What is this doing for your wrestling? That was wild. She stopped wrestling. Stopped. It just looks at the hard camera and just starts. Like, you don't even got to be in the front row behind her. BC was starting to go, oh, yes, Maxine. Oh, that coffee's kicking in. So Maxine's booty shaking, and then seconds later, she's tapping out. Uncle! Well, yeah, you didn't just take your eye off the ball. You forgot what profession you're in, man. Strip clubs that way. What? She would do it. What? That's not pro wrestling. It's the theatrics, BC. Oh, my goodness. Too funny, man. All right, so anyway, post-match, Gable lays down a street fight challenge to Howdy and the Wyatts. Howdy, top of the ramp, he accepts. Uncle tells Gable, this was a pretty badass line. Uncle tells Gable, you gambled with your entire being and we will collect the debt. Badass line. I mean, it's the only thing of substance I can think of, right? After this quick tap out from Maxine to Ivy, because nobody's going to talk about that the next day, right? If it's not a review show like this, if BC isn't giving my audience this review, I don't know many people that are really talking about it. You're not going to work if you're an adult and you're in the cubicles and you're like, Teddy, did you see Ivy Nile tap out Maxine? I don't think that's on your list to talk about from Monday Night Raw. If you're going to school, right? Middle, junior high, high school, I don't care which grade you're in. You're going to school, you're not spending any time talking about how Ivy tapped out Maxine. You might be talking about Maxine booty shaking. Maybe Maxine's on to something. That was the best part of the match. It's the part of the match we spent the most time on. Maxine knew what she was doing. Nobody's talking about this. So at least Uncle Howdy and the Wyatts came out. I mean, that brings something to the post-match activity. I'm stretching here, man. I had so many higher expectations for the Wyatts when they debuted. And Chad Gable taking him, instead of doing a proper feud with Otis and what is now Alpha Academy with the new American Made, instead of doing this properly, that became second. They thrusted Chad Gable into the first Wyatt feud, and I'm not sure exactly why that needed to be done. Gable had his own storyline with Otis going, and it was beautiful. We were all talking about when Otis turns on Gable, that is going to be an electric moment. Instead, Otis just shoves him, walks away. The crowd in attendance is shocked because not he finally did it. They're shocked because, wait, is that it? They didn't know if he was going to come back and actually, turn on Gable, emphatically. It was just a little shove, and that was the turn. They never reunited. So they just rushed the finish to Otis and Gable's feud, Alpha Academy's implosion. They rushed that to get Gable over to the Wyatts, while simultaneously trying to keep this B and even C level feud with Alpha Academy alive. And unfortunately, it's just not working. And here we are, man. Nobody benefited, I don't feel. Gable didn't benefit from this. Alpha Academy certainly didn't. They just chalk up another loss. They're still just as irrelevant now as they were with Chad Gable. Otis, still as irrelevant now as when he was with Gable. That's not supposed to happen. When you do the epic turn, you're supposed to be off to the races now. Otis is the same catering Otis unless they have a quick 4-minute match where they need Maxine to shake her booty and tap out real quick. And for the Wyatts just to come out, man, a 3-hour show. Now, trust me, this is somebody who used to say Bray Wyatt's 30-second Firefly Funhouse would be the best part of a 3-hour Raw. So trust me, you don't need 10 minutes every single Monday. But for a 3-hour show, and the Wyatts should be one of your focal points, to have them just come out, all of them, just for Howdy to accept a street fight. Or if we're going to do that, can we be a little bit more creative with it? That's one of those things, guys, where I can't lower my bar. I get it. If you're like, BC, I see where you're coming from, but I see no problem with it. The challenge is accepted. Now we get the fun street fight coming up. All right, cool. As long as you're good with it, then that's what matters for you. For BC, I'm just creative, man. It's what I do. It's who I am. I'm a creative person. And I'm always thinking about all the awesome things you can do, like the truly awesome, not showing up and yelling, this is awesome when something is simply not awesome, but all the awesome content that we could be getting, all the creative that would work out for the wrestlers and the show and the company in totality. And when I see something that is so run-of-the-mill, low-bar average, mediocre AF, I can't help but go, what? You have 617 writers. The dude in charge of creative is cooking, I'm told. That's what we got. So that's the best part of it, guys. The line, you gambled with your being and we're going to collect the debt. And I was like, all right, I can put that in my notes. That was cool. That's the goal on the channel, man. Just have everybody raise their bar, not just fans or the audience watching this. The wrestlers, the companies, everybody raise your bar, man. Let's get back to that bar status, that everything makes sense and everything is truly getting us captivated. It's becoming must-see TV again, not just for a couple 2-3 segments, but everything has a story or something of substance attached to it. That's the goal, right? Get back to that. Because every week that goes by like this, the Alpha Academy, American Made, and even the Wyatts are taking a back seat to anything that most of us are going to care about. So we'll see what they do with this street fight. That's the perfect time to try to get everybody back into this. But it has to come off damn near flawlessly. This can't just be kendo sticks, trash can lids, and some tables breaking. We've been seeing that left and right the past month alone. NXT, main roster, Raw, SmackDown. Just saw it on SmackDown, right? Nia Jax and Meechin hitting each other with kendo sticks and trash can lids. This is the Wyatts. This is Gable and his American Made. Let's take that another level. What is that? That's the beautiful part. This is for creative to get creative. We'll see. So that's the first matchup of the night. Nothing of substance. Quick tap out, Maxine to Ivy Nile. Shayna Baszler then defeats Zelina Vega via knee to the face pinfall. Zoey, Sonya, and Shayna with the post-match attack on Zelina Vega. Lyra Valkyria. Beautiful girl. I'm starting to really know Lyra is, starting to see what Shawn Michaels is seeing in Lyra Valkyria. And, of course, the talent to go with it. It's not just beauty, but she's got the talent, man. Lyra Valkyria for the save. But the numbers game favors the heels, and that's exactly what happened, right? Lyra was no match for the entire group, and by that time, Zelina was already taken out. So then Sonya gets on the microphone. This is weird, right? Sonya gets on the mic and says, "There's not a man in this arena or anywhere that can take us out." That was her message, man. Not a man. Don't you care about the women's division? What does it matter if a man can take you out? And I'm pretty sure there's dudes in that arena that could have probably done some damage. Not damage control. But Sonya Deville is calling out dudes, man. She's saying there's no dude in this arena or anywhere that can take... All right, well... What? I mean, maybe if Rhea did some type of China gimmick, maybe that's more realistic. Sonya Deville is a badass, but let's not start calling out dudes. I don't think Sonya Deville's beating Roman Reigns in the future. I don't think Sonya Deville is taking out Braun Strowman. I don't think Sonya Deville is going to defeat, I don't know, if they bring back Bobby Lashley. I just don't see it happening, right? Can you imagine Randy Orton getting pinned by Sonya Deville? Imagine Cody Rhodes losing his championship to Sonya Deville. Hour number one comes to an end with that weird promo. So that's your first hour. Like I said, Judgment Day continues to do the same type of thing, right? Liv, Dominik, Rhea, and Damien all yelling and chasing each other. American Made defeats Alpha Academy in just a few minutes. Ivy taps out Maxine. And then Baszler defeats Zelina Vega in about, just under 8 minutes. And then a weird post-match promo by Sonya Deville. So that was your first hour, and that's what I mean, right? When you take a step back, even if you love the show, when you listen to it, actually, when we break it down, you're like, oh, well, if BC's going to put it like that, yeah. I mean, that's not a spin. I'm not putting a spin on it. I'm not giving you like a narrative. This is what happened in the first hour, guys. I'm just not like getting uber excited about something that didn't excite me live. It didn't. So could hour number two do that? Well, the top of it, absolutely. The best part of the show happened at the start of hour number two. And this is, you could easily say this is the best thing in WWE right now. The best thing. So this was CM Punk starting the show, stating he is officially done with Drew McIntyre. He is now setting his sights on Gunther and the world title. He says, but tonight, Denver, we celebrate. And he's in a good mood. I mean, he's got extra bounce in his step. He's jumping around the ring, basically doing cartwheels. He's got his little Larry shirt on. He's happy, right? He finally put Drew in the rear view. He's looking at that championship now. So he says, Denver, let's celebrate. I'm like, this is literally, I was not even just putting it in my notes. I was thinking this off right from the jump when the music hit and he said, Denver, let's celebrate. I'm thinking this is either going to be one of the worst Raw segments I've ever seen, or they have something pretty cool coming up. Because there's no way this dude just came out with a big shit-eating grin, a big smile, jumping around like a kid that just got his new Xbox for his birthday present. Right? Yes. Do I have games? There's no way that you're just going to have an overexcited CM Punk hopping around on a commentary table in excitement and then we go to commercial. There's no way that is your follow-up to the strap match at Bash in Berlin. Thankfully, he did get up on the commentary table. He did start bouncing around and celebrating. But thankfully, they had a big angle planned. Drew McIntyre shows up in a hoodie, sweeps the leg of CM Punk. And you didn't see Drew first. You just had the camera zoomed up to Punk, who was on the commentary table, so you don't see the leg swipe. You just see Punk ass over tea kettle. So really great production work. They do that all the time, but got to give a shout out. So Punk is taken out by Drew. A Claymore! Literally a Claymore that hit so hard like a tsunami, not a Bronson Reed. This was a Claymore tsunami that knocked CM Punk out of his shoes. At least a shoe. Literally, CM Punk was knocked out of his shoe. It was great, bro. Now, there's a possibility the shoe came out with the leg sweep, maybe, right? Maybe when he took... But listen, the story that I'm telling, because it sounds a lot better, is the Claymore took him out of the shoe. That was wild. Then he delivers like Wade Barrett tried to back him off, and he's just like, dude, you can get it too. So he shoves Barrett aside, and he delivers a second Claymore. Maybe it was the second one. Was it the second? I have no idea which one it was. Maybe that. No, the first one knocked him out of his shoe. Either way, another Claymore knocks CM Punk down and out again. This one hit even harder than the first one. Then Drew picks him up, chucks him like garbage going into the dumpster. He just chucks CM Punk into the ring. Gets into the ring, Jason Jordan, Wade Barrett's back in there, suits and ties, referees, everybody's trying to stop him, but he says, get out or y'all can get it too. Here he comes, like a choo-choo Braun Strowman chugga-chugga train. Drew McIntyre with a third Claymore, and I mean, wow, baka! He got all of that third one like 1 and 2. The only difference, 3 was even harder than 1 and 2 somehow. That third Claymore. I gotta tell you, man. CM Punk, Drew McIntyre was hitting these Claymores, and CM Punk was selling flawlessly. It's the best way to put it. I mean, you have to give both dudes credit here. Punk was not trying to block these things. Punk was taking this like a champ, trusting that Drew was gonna hit him perfectly. There was so much trust between the two, and Drew went full throttle, knowing that Punk would sell accordingly. Because if Drew went full throttle and CM Punk half-assedly sold, that was going to make Drew look like an idiot as well. But Drew went for it, trusted Punk would sell the way that he knew Punk could. Punk did. Punk knew that Drew was going to come and bring it, so he sold it the way he did. When you truly know how to critique pro wrestling, like truly, right? Not just like, oh, I'm a fan, I can get a camera, I can make uploads, I can make videos, right? I'm gonna talk wrestling, and that's awesome. But when you truly know how to critique and break down wrestling, right? That's an art. That's something you have within you. It's like an it factor. Like being a wrestler, you have an it factor. Critiquing this stuff, it's an it factor. So, and most people, and it's okay, they don't have it. It's like being a musician. Most people actually don't have a good voice. Most of us think we do. We all think we can be the lead singer of a band. Unfortunately, singing in the shower and our family and friends telling us we have a good voice, it doesn't translate to the bigger picture. So most of us, including BC, we can't be lead singers in a band, and that sucks. I would have loved to have been. I don't have that natural it factor to be a lead singer in a band. But if you truly know how to critique pro wrestling, man, you see that type of magic, and it's just so... It's an amazing sight to see, to be able to sit back and watch that kind of art. And that's what Drew and Punk have been doing, and they just took it to another level last night. So for a real critic in this industry, BC was more than satisfied with that segment. Kudos to Hunter Hearst Helmsley for whether that was from his idea set or not, but just approving that. But much credit to Punk and Drew for pulling that off. That was wild. That was really good. And it didn't even stop there. And this is what I mean. Like, if you do this properly, you let it breathe. There's no reason to rush it. And I always tell you guys, these are the type of segments, go to commercial, right? Let everything breathe, fade to black, almost like you're finishing the show. But you're just going to commercial, fade to black, come back after commercial, still attending to that segment, right? Start a new segment. Maybe somebody's in the back. Maybe they're being stuffed in an ambulance, but the other dude is just relentless. And they did that. They did it, man. We came back from break. They're loading up a bloodied CM Punk. Drew comes back because, I didn't even go. Hold up. I was so impressed with the Claymores. Guys, the biggest part of this, the biggest part was after the Claymores, he takes the bracelet from CM Punk, AJ Lee and Larry. He takes the bracelet. All of this just to get his bracelet back. And Drew took it back. Basie had to laugh for a second. I'm like, what are the chances? This dude, it didn't last 2 days, and the bracelet's already gone again. But this time, Drew's like, he goes to put it on, and he's like, I don't even know. I'm done with this. This isn't a game of, you got it, I got it. He just rips the bracelet, tears it. As the beads, some of the beads fall, some of the beads remain in his hand, and he takes the beads and he shoves them in CM Punk's mouth. So he's like, we're not playing you're not getting this bracelet back. And he makes sure of that. He rips it. And of course, that's not good luck. You want to keep those beads, right? When the beads snap, that means don't ever try to even put those together again. When the beads snap, that's not good luck to put them back together. That's the universe, not the WWE universe. That's the universe telling you have to get new beads, right? You got to get new mojo, right? That's the universe telling you that you just rejected some bad mojo, but the beads protected you. Now you got to get new beads. So Punk has to get new beads. Because he just ripped them into shreds. Beads falling, beads in CM Punk's mouth. And then they let it breathe even some more. And then we came back from break. They're loading Punk into the ambulance. Here comes Drew McIntyre, and he starts wailing away again. Screams, man. Medical's like, what's going on? As if they don't know what WWE is. It was raucous, chaotic. This was the good type of chaos. Not just, they're brawling again. Can't praise it enough. Very well done. Love how they came right back to it when we came back from break. That's called a television show. You don't have to rush everything. You don't have to rush to the next segment. You don't have to try to fit everybody onto your program because you screwed up and hired 200 wrestlers and you don't know what to do with them. Some are sitting at catering. Some can't even make it to the event because you have no room for them at catering. So you say, sit home until we have something for you. You don't always have to do that. It's a television show, man. You could literally take a couple, 2, 3, 4, 5 wrestlers, and you could have them over the course of 2, 3, 4 segments on a show. 3 segments. You guys remember the Bloodline story with Sami Zayn, and it was really like thriving. That was when Vince McMahon was... Yes, I know, but this was when Vince McMahon was still running creative, and that's when Bloodline was at their best, actually, under Vincent Kennedy McMahon, go figure. But they were just rolling on all cylinders, and they had a segment, guys, where it was pretty much the first hour of a SmackDown. I'll never forget it, and it was one of the highest-rated SmackDowns. How wild is that? It's all you need. Get characters that people care about, situation that people are gravitated toward, storyline and a few that we can't look away from, remote's got to go down, and you're going to pull those ratings in. People are going to be captivated. It's called a television show, man. Any television show, you take a couple characters, if it's a good storyline and people are engaged, they're going to watch those same characters. They'll watch them for a half an hour, a full hour, 2 hours. There's been movies that are just surrounded around just an individual trying to overcome a situation. And people watch that one individual for a couple hours because it's fun, it's engaging, it's going to lead to some cool stuff. And that's something that pro wrestling needs to remember at all times. You don't always have to have... The best way to put it is, many times you're going to find, and this is for anything in life, it's quality over quantity. You could have 100 wrestlers on a Monday night, or you could have 20. And that show with 20 where you had to use some of the same individuals for 2-3 segments, that's most likely going to get the higher rating. Anyway, that's a whole spiel for another time, I suppose. But I was very, very impressed with that segment. I was very happy that it was done. I think what happened was Bronson Reed, they say, Bronson Reed was not on the show. He's dealing with some, what was it? What'd they say? He has the co, I believe. I think they said he has the 19. But regardless, so he was off of Raw, so that would have been the, like, suits and ties and everywhere. He was probably going to squash somebody again this week. Maybe Miz, who knows? So they probably said, well, we need a chaotic segment. Bronson's not here. Well, Drew and CM Punk would be perfect for it. So it actually worked out. Because that's way more engaging than just Bronson squashing another individual, especially Miz. Anyway, damn, best thing. I literally put that in my notes. Best thing in WWE with a big period. Salute. So the start of hour 2 greatly saved everything, all the mediocrity from hour 1. Now, could we continue that? We go to a triple threat for the IC title, number 1 contendership anyway. Dominik, Mysterio, Dragon Lee, and Dragonuv. Remember Dragonuv? Dragonuv! They ripped him right off the milk carton. Dominik is chased off mid-match by Damien Priest, so this just leaves Dragonuv and Dragon Lee, so you're like, hey, Dragonov's gonna win, right? You're not having much respect, but you're not having Dragon Lee beat Dragonuv. Stop. Everybody else has already beaten Dragonuv. Please don't have Dragon Lee. What's next? Tozawa? So, I mean, this is one of those situations where now it's not even a 50-50 shot at winning. Dragonuv is winning this match. And sure enough, Dragonuv pins Dragon Lee. He won a match! Dragonuv! If you follow the channel, you know why his booking is just frustrating to a whole nother level. I won't even get into it. That's how frustrating it is. But Dragonuv pins Dragon Lee. In his 18th main roster match, Dragonuv finally picks up his 6th victory. 6 of 18. This win has now put his winning percentage to, we don't need a drum roll, 33%. If you would have told me that Dragonuv would have a main roster winning percentage of just 33, that he only wins 1 out of every 3 matchups, I would have said you done fallen on your dome piece a couple 2-3 too many times as a kid. But no, that's a truthful statistic. I mean, there's losing some matches, and then there's just losing every 2 out of every 3. That's not you can't book Dragonuv like that. Come on. You can pluck my local pizza delivery guy, Luigi Lugnuts from the local bingo hall, and he wins more than 1 out of every 3. This win now puts him at 33%. Yes, more importantly, guys, it snaps a 6-match losing streak. They literally just had Dragonuv on this tour or around Germany, or where'd they go? UK, wherever they were. This last tour, they just had Dragonuv lose 6 in a row. No joke. This dude was just on a 6-match losing streak, so he doesn't just lose a lot on TV. They just tour him around the world, not just the US, losing. So this victory just snapped a 6-match losing streak. Can you tell this was a big day? I know it's just Dragon Lee, but still, man, more of him winning. Maybe we'll start to care about Dragonuv in the future. Maybe is it possible? Who knows? We'll see. Hold on, what do we got here? Oh, I thought I had some breaking news there, but no. No. Still trying to find out what's going on with Odyssey Jones, man. I thought I had something on Odyssey Jones pop up. Still nothing, so we'll find out more on Odyssey. Again, on, off, on the roster page. So, is he going to be back on this morning and then taken off this afternoon? Who knows? So, Dragonuv moves on in this weird little IC tournament. So, I think next week they're going to have the Fatal 4-Way for the actual number 1 contender, I think is how this is going. And then we go into the most mind-boggling segment of the night. Jade, Cargill, Bianca, Belair at ringside for a women's tag title number 1 contenders match. What a shocker, by the way, right? Well, why have a good feud going, a good story? Let's just do a number one contenders match, right? The IC title has a tournament to find number one contenders because we don't want to do a story. So you have Jade and Bianca out there who just got the titles back, by the way, from Alba and Isla, who only held them for 70 some odd days, which is a little bit less than even, who was it? Wait. DIY had them for 28 days. So the 70 some odd days is, Alba and Isla said, we tripled that. Hold our coffees. At least we didn't do the DIY run. 28 days. They held them for 70 some odd. Gave it right back. Hot potato to Jade and Bianca. But that's not the part that has us so mind-boggled, right? That's just stupid planning on Hunter's part. That's not very good booking at all. That's not looking into the future. That's not long-term storytelling, which Hunter struggles with. This is one of those things that somehow it got even more befuddling as the segment went on, because the matchup was Io and Kari of Damage Control versus Alba, Fyre, and Isla Dawn. So just give Isla and Alba their rematch, right? Which would end up being just a rematch of a rematch of a rematch. Oh, and then Damage Control just won a match last week, and that all of a sudden puts them one victory away from titles? The match was just so odd. And then it just got more odd. First of all, in this match, Kari is busted open in this match. She leaps off the top rope, launches herself face first into the commentary table. That's what she did. Now, they tried to say that Bianca was pulled in the way. Maybe Alba or Isla or somebody pulled Bianca in the way. And maybe that's what I put in my notes is, this was so odd. They said Bianca was thrown in the way, but no, she wasn't. That's what I put. Because I didn't see it. Or it would happen so badly that like nobody really saw it. And to prove that, they never showed a replay of it. Never. And that was a big spot. Kyrie flew. And Bianca was supposedly taken out. And Kari smacks into the commentary table. They never showed the replay to it. So that showed you that there was a major botch. Maybe Bianca was supposed to and she wasn't. Or maybe it was so like, it wasn't even realistic. But no matter what, we did see Kyrie launch herself as if she's not planning on land on anybody. Nobody. Kyrie jumped high above as if she wanted to go face first into the commentary table, because that's exactly what happened. And nobody was there. Nobody. Nobody was there to catch her. She wasn't landing on anybody. She went wah, rah, bah, face first into the commentary table. That's what happened. Busted herself open. That's how bad she hit. I don't know what was supposed to happen there, but that was a massive botch. But you know what? You just hope Kyrie's okay, because we have to concern ourselves with the booking as well, because that wasn't it, right? Moments later, Io is pinned 1, 2, 3. Now we go back to Alba and Isla. Another match with Jade and Bianca. Then why not just do that match in the first place? Why did Damage Control have to lose just to have the rematch for the titles that you were going to have anyway? Crowd again, complete silence. You guys can check it out yourself. This is not just being harsh on a review show. I've been saying this. Sadly, it's like that with a lot of women's matches, unfortunately. But Damage Control has been like this, especially when they, quote, turned face. The fans are they literally destroyed Damage Control when they absurdly turned them face. Nobody cares during their matches. That when they win like last week, nobody cared. When they lose like this week again, nobody cares. That's bad. When they don't care, that's really bad. And Hunter has to know they done messed up on this. Big time. And then post-match, Belair, Cargill, and Damage Control are arguing. The tension is there between Damage Control, Jade, and Bianca. So what are you telling me? Is this somehow going to be a triple threat because we've seen Jade and Bianca and Alba and Isla a couple times already? So they're going to thrust Damage in there even though they just lost this match, but because there's tension now. Right? Are they going to use because Bianca was thrown in the way of Kyrie even though she truly wasn't? Or not good enough? So now they're going to try to keep the story alive and somehow Damage Control is still going to go for the titles. So let's get this straight. Come on, guys, let's use common sense and logic, okay? I know the company doesn't like when we do this, but we have to, because this is one of those situations that had BC wanting to put his dome piece through every brick wall in NYC. You absurdly turned Io Inkari face when Sonya, Shayna, and Zoey showed up to out-heel Damage Control after everything they did against Bayley and all the other faces in the company. And then this other heel group out-heels them, so they booted them out of heeldom. So out of process of elimination, Damage Control is like, I guess we have to be faces now. We can't be heels because we just got out-heeled by Sonya's group. So then the next week, they're chugging around like they're faces. What made them faces? The fact that heels out-heeled you? It makes no sense. So then they 50-50 them in their booking since they've turned face, just to get us to a feud with Bianca and Jade, because that's how it ended last night. They're all fighting or arguing. So I'm just trying to use common sense and logic. Turning, what are their names? Io and Kari. Turning them face absurdly. Quietly and absurdly turning them face just to have them face the top faces, Jade and Bianca. Why did you turn them face just to take on the faces? If that's to keep them heel. Do you guys now see how there is no consistency? There is no direction with this division. Especially when you put the subdivision of the tag teams in the women's division. There's no direction. There's no consistency. There's no planning. Guys, there's no planning. This is literally Hunter Hearst Helmsley every time he shows up Monday morning or Monday afternoon or Friday afternoon. You could tell me he's throwing baloney at the wall and whatever names that's the matches he's making. You turned them face and destroyed them, even worse than the booking they were having as heels. Turned them face with no plan. And now they're ending this segment arguing with other faces that are top. They're more faces than them, right? Jade and Bianca are going to get a bigger reaction than, unfortunately, for a lot of fans, but it's the truth, more of a reaction than Io and Kari. So they're going to be outfaced. So you out-heeled them with Sonya's group to the point where they got booted from the heeldom. They had to be booted from heels. The heel club. They got booted from Sonya and them. So then they had to be faces. And now they're going to be booted from the facedom. What are you doing to Io and Kari? If you don't have a plan, sit them in catering and rethink this. Io is too good for this booking. It's common sense and logic. We're not nitpicking for the sake of nitpicking or being too harsh for the sake of being too harsh. We're having a cup of coffee, talking pro wrestling. The same feeling I have here the next morning is the same feeling I had watching this live. What are they doing? It doesn't make sense. I will invest in anything in the wacky world of pro wrestling. Just make it make sense. I'll watch Papa Shango doing voodoo to other wrestlers. I'll watch The Undertaker shoot lightning out of his hands and come back from the dead. I'll watch Bray Wyatt or a Matt Hardy or anybody turn into 6 different individuals and transport to different locations. That's fine. Because it fits the character, right? I can enter the wacky world of pro wrestling because for the sake of the story and the character, makes sense actually. But just have the consistency. Make it make sense. Know what you're doing in your presentation. Because this ain't it. And this is what Hunter Hearst Helmsley has to think of. What are you doing? You have to think for the long term. You have to make it make sense. Having Austin Theory cash in his briefcase on a mid-card title that he's already held 4 times previous in the middle of a Monday Night Raw, and fail, by the way, and then afterwards say, well, I was never going to win the world title from Roman anyway, and then a few months later say, I'm entering the Royal Rumble so I can have a chance to take on Roman Reigns for the title in the future. So now you have to take on 29 dudes in the Rumble just to get the chance that you already had with the briefcase. Now, all of a sudden, you can beat Roman Reigns? It didn't make sense. Like watching the product, if you watch any television show or any movie, you want it to make sense. What they did with Hunter did with Austin Theory never made sense the entire year. Cody Rhodes doesn't win the championship at 39, instead lays down next to a rubber chicken. So then they immediately start the feud that was supposed to happen because he won the title, but Hunter decided last minute not to put the title on him. But they still went with the Brock Lesnar feud. To this day, there was no explanation from WWE. Michael Cole, live, asked why 6 times. He's like, we don't really have an explanation, but Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes is getting volatile. No, we all know what it was supposed to be. Cody was supposed to get the title, and then Brock, because Brock at that time, remember, he could not take on Roman anymore. That was a stipulation when Roman last beat him. So he was waiting for someone to get the title, and that's why Brock would turn on Cody the next day on Monday Night Raw. But they decided, for whatever reason, Hunter said, no, we're going to wait another year. We all know how that ended up. Roman goes on vacation for the most part of the year. There was a cluster for WrestleMania 40. Nobody knew what was going on. We all know how that turned out. BC told you that was going to happen. But all right, they had Brock turn on Cody anyway. And to this day, there's no explanation. Didn't make sense. Sonya Deville's group out-healing Damage Control for what reason? LA Knight not winning the U.S. title a year ago when he was lightning hot, white lightning hot. They waited till just a few weeks ago to finally put the mid-card title on LA Knight. If Stone Cold Steve Austin was as hot as he was back in the day and they waited an extra year to put the IC title on him, that would have been stupid. We would have been saying that about Vince McMahon. But no, Vince knew, put that IC title on him. That's the stepping stone. As Sami Zayn said last night, we'll get to that in a minute. A couple of minutes. I think it was the next segment, so about a minute, we'll get to that. Sami Zayn just said it himself last night. The IC title, the stepping stone. LA Knight, one of the hottest wrestlers in the world last year at this time. Instead, we're leaving him off shows. He doesn't get the briefcase last year. He doesn't win the little tournament just to get the U.S. title shot. These are all massive booking botches by Hunter Hearst Helmsley. These are things, not just massive botches, they just can't happen. You're actually ruining the wrestlers. You're ruining people like Damage Control. LA Knight, guys, this is still 70% of what he was getting last year. Thankfully, did not get ruined. At least not as of now. That was a weird segment last week when they brought out Ludwig, knowing that he was going to be more cheered than LA Knight because it's Germany. So why put Ludwig out there when LA Knight is, in a sense, working as a heel for 75% of that audience? These are just such odd decisions. They have Randy Orton. They have Gunther recently tell Randy Orton that your grandfather was a screw-up, your father was a screw-up, you're the biggest screw-up, and then they shake hand. Randy shakes his hand after he beats them. Man, thank you. I respect everything you said about my family, man. You're a good dude. What'd you say? We're failures and screw-ups? Yeah, man, much respect. You're a good wrestler, so I gotta shake your hand. Forget what you said about the family. You're a good wrestler. Mutual respect. I can keep going on, and guys, these are just not in my notes. The booking of Hunter Hearst Helmsley is just so inconsistent. There's no direction with it. For the majority, anyway. Couple 2-3 things here and there. You know, the Monday Night Raw sometimes has 2 or 3 things going on. SmackDown, unfortunately, has nothing. There is nothing going on SmackDown. It is sad. But Raw, you know, CM Punk and Drew. A verdict is still out on the Wyatts, unfortunately. Judgment Day has its hot and cold streaks. And then everything else is just this. Io and Kyrie arguing with Bianca and Jade. That's not benefiting Io and Kyrie, I can assure you. The faces are imploding. They just got out-heeled and now they're being out-faced. And you're telling me the booking is A-OK, BC. Nobody even budged after this match. When the final 3 count was made, nobody made a sound. Nobody cared. But everything's good, Beasley. Man, he's cooking in the women's division. It's all good, Beasley. Damage Control is going to be A-OK. Nope. It's not. Got to fix it. Something's broke, you fix it. Get a deep enough cut, you got to at least, bare minimum, put a Band-Aid on it or something, right? You got to reattach that shit. Don't leave the open wound. Just gets more infected, just gets worse. Got to fix it. This women's division, especially the subdivision of the tag division, it's really bad, that division, and it's got to be fixed. That was so I couldn't believe I'm seeing these faces implode, and I'm like, then why? They were just heels a few months ago. Why did you do that to put them against Bianca and Jade? They're probably going to get thrown in to make this a triple threat tag match, and this shows you there is zero direction. We then go into the start of hour number 3. This was Gunther starting hour 3. He says, after a swig of coffee, Gunther starts hour 3 saying he said a lot of things about Randy Orton. And he was right. He says, I think he was trying to, because there was a lot of backlash, thankfully. Nobody more vivid in the conversation than BC in the Amplified unit with that stupid handshake with Randy Orton on Saturday afternoon, Bash in Berlin. After the match, they shook hands, but a lot of you guys, you're like, wait, Gunther said all that? Like, no dude, no man is going to extend his hand to you after you say that about La Famille. It ain't happening, right? You bashing dude in his face, time after time, every time, on site. He's talked all that trash about his family, and Randy's just like, congratulations, man. What a wrestler you are. You out-wrestled me. What an athletic competition. Mutual respect. What? You guys are telling me people are trying to defend it. They're like, he passed the torch, basically. Pass the torch. This is beyond a wrestling match, man. Talking crap about the dude's La Famille. Cool, Randy ain't no man's gonna extend there, especially not a Viper, a legend killer. So I think he tried to, give some, reasoning, right? I wanted the best version of Randy Orton, so I said some things. But he couldn't help himself. He's like, this was a quote, I said a lot of things about Randy Orton, and I was right, he says. He was the biggest screw-up. That's wild, man. So he called Denver a bunch of degenerates. So that's what I mean. That's the Gunther we should be getting. He shouldn't be shaking the hands of a top face, and Randy certainly should not have been shaking his hand. So you guys are telling me, people are trying to defend the handshake. They're trying desperately. Guys, let them try desperately, because it's desperately. You can't defend it. That cannot happen in pro wrestling. Mutual respect is going to happen from time to time. It happens way too much in Hunter's era, but it's going to happen. But you can't take your top heel, one of your top heels and one of your top faces after what was said from that heel and that face, and then have them shake hands because they had an athletic competition. Stop. Hogan and Slaughter. I keep thinking of that, man. After Hogan beats Slaughter and then they shake hands afterwards. Everything that he said about Hogan in the United States of America, and they're just shaking hands. Everything that Ric Flair did to Macho Man for the build-up to WrestleMania 8. With Miss Elizabeth. Could you imagine if Macho just won the title and then shook Ric's hand afterwards? What? It's so weird. Your grandfather, your father, you screw-ups. You're all failures. Hey, man, good match. I don't know a man in existence that would just fucking extend a hand because of an athletic competition after what was said. So bad. Let him try desperately to defend that. There is none. That cannot. I'm saying right now. That's not even a debate. It's not even in question. That cannot happen in pro wrestling. So I think he was supposed to kind of lessen that a little bit, right? Lessen the conversation, put everyone at ease a little bit, right? I only said this to get the best Randy. But he's like, but I did end up being right. I had to laugh, man. That was an LOL for BC. Sami Zayn then hits the ring, makes a case for a shot at the IC title, brings up legends like my dude, Macho Man. Where is it? There he is. Macho Man, Randy Savage, Jr., Elizabeth, going to the bank, fire up the coffee. Because I got something to say to Warrior. Yeah, Warrior. Yeah, you got your eyes on Macho Man now. You ain't gonna know what hit you, but it's gonna hit you, Warrior. You ain't the baddest man, Warrior. No, you ain't the baddest man by a long shot, you see. When Macho Man entered World Wrestling Federation, you instantly became number 2. Yeah, do you get it? Elizabeth, I told you to fire up the coffee. Now go. Warrior, you're a number 2. Yeah, not even Hulk Hogan is in my realm. Yeah, you see, because Macho Man's on a level that you can't even fathom. No, you can't fathom it. Whew, the coffee is hitting, bro. That was my boy Macho Man Randy Savage. There is no. A lot of you guys that watch this channel, you're actually in wrestling school. A lot of you guys are wrestling now on the indies. Hopefully you guys are all hopefully you're all kicking ass and taking my advice. Study Macho Man Randy Savage. Character matches everything. If you want to learn in this business, Macho Man Randy Savage. That's it. That's it. I even before I would tell you Ric Flair, I know that's a hot take, but trust me, you'll thank me in the long run, man. You could take a little bit from each. Take a little bit from a lot, but Randy Savage, if you have the most time to dedicate to one, it's Randy Savage, man. Unreal. But I bring that up because Sami Zayn brought him up in his promo, and he literally said, you know, the legends like Macho Man Randy Savage, he brought up Stone Cold, he brought up Rock and a few others, and he said they all use the IC Championship as a stepping stone to get to the World Championship. And that is very true. That's if you do it correctly, that's how it should be, right? Vince gave the IC Championship to Gunther. Thankfully, Hunter carried on that tradition, took the IC champion once he lost that, stepping stone to the world title, and then Gunther won the world title. So that's one of those things that Vince and Hunter kind of stemmed off once Vince hightailed and Hunter took over. That's, you know, it's good that Gunther was in this conversation because he's the last one to do that, right? IC title as the stepping stone to the biggest mountain to climb, which is the world title. And Sami Zayn was the last person to actually defeat Gunther, I believe, at least via pinfall. Something like that, right? I think Sami was the last one. So at first, you're thinking, what is Sami doing out here? We already saw that with the IC title feud. But his promo makes sense, and that's all I'm asking, is just make sense, right? If you want to do rematches and whatever, I'm not saying you can never do them. Make sense. That's all we're asking for. Like, don't insult your audience's intelligence. Make it make sense. There's a big part of the audience, especially today, that'll eat anything, right? No matter what is served, they just go, this is awesome. And then they come across channels like this. They're like, I don't know why he doesn't like some of this. Well, because it doesn't make sense to us, right? Like we have common sense and logic. Our bars are set a little higher or a lot higher, and we're not going to be having our intelligence is just not going to be insulted. It's the bottom line. It's the only way to put it. So make it make sense. If you're just going to thrust Kevin Owens to Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens just saying something little like, I really don't deserve this. My win-loss record doesn't justify a title shot. That's the truth. So to hear Kevin Owens say that, it helps the audience like BC go, oh, all right, at least we're not having our intelligence insulted. At least they put that in the storyline. Like they acknowledge that this is weird. This is so odd. But okay, at least we can be along for the ride now, right? Because you incorporated us. You brought us that use common sense and logic. You brought us into the fold. It's something like that, man. So Sami Zayn at first, I was like, what are we doing? But once he started talking about like, he believes he should get a shot at that title. He did everything. He's the one who beat Gunther in the past. He was the IC title holder, and just because Gunther now has it doesn't mean that he should never go for it because he was going for the IC title with Gunther. I hope that makes sense. It was making sense. Bringing up the legends, talking about how they all did the same thing that I'm on, career trajectory-wise. So even though we did this thing several times for the IC title, I believe we should do this for the world title. And to which Gunther's response after that passionate promo by Sami Zayn, Gunther says, no. And he just walks off. Sami Zayn starts screaming something afterwards too, like, this isn't over, I will get my match or something. And Gunther's like, okay, buddy, I'm going back. I'm going somewhere. I'm going to get the triple layered moose cake I cater. I'm going to shake Randy's hand again. But he just says no. But it's clear that that's going to be the next in line. I'm okay with that because you do need another filler now with Bad Blood, if they have Gunther even facing somebody at Bad Blood. But I guess Sami Zayn is no harm, no foul. He won't get the world title, but it's a good little program. And again, because they're incorporating everybody into this by a promo like that from Sami, I'm okay with it. Then we got a solid, I do have to bring this up. This was a solid backstage back and forth. It was just about a minute long, but I have to talk about it. This was Bron Breakker and Jey Uso. Jey Uso was doing one of his goofy backstage promos with, who was it, Jackie Redmond, I believe. But he's yeeting all over the place. He's overly excited. He's like, yeet, yeet, yeet. After everything he says, you hear the audience and the crowd going, yeet. So everybody's eating. And as he's doing this, and Jackie's like, yeah, we're eating. You have Bron Breakker, right? The camera kind of pans a little left, and Bron Breakker's just like mocking him. Like, yeah, it's the goofy guy, Jey Uso. I loved it. Like and then once Jey like notices him, he's like, he gets serious, you know? Like without actually telling Jey, you're goofy, this is goofy, I'm done with goofy time. And he looks right at Jey Uso and he says, this is your last chance to pull out of this little IC #1 contenders tournament. Put yourself out of it. Because you're just going to make it worse for yourself. You are going to lose. Jey Uso says, listen, rookie. Calls him rookie. And that kind of broke a little bit of the seriousness of Breakker. He was like, oh, you're going to go there. Okay. Like, I'm trying to out alpha you, and you just like kind of went there to the rookie status. Like you're the seasoned vet that's better than. So he calls him rookie, and he cuts a pretty good promo on Bron Breakker, and he says, I'm going to win the IC #1 contendership. I'm going to beat you for that IC championship, and I'm going to beat your ass in the process, he says. And then he goes, yeet, and then he walks off, and Breakker is so pissed off. He's like just seething. You could see like there's drool coming out of his mouth, like a legit just infuriated by Jey Uso. So that 1 minute right there was more emphatic. There was more substance to it. It was more engaging. There was more investment that could be put into it than most of the show that was produced inside the ring in that arena. So mad props to Bron Breakker and Jason Uso, one of his best promos. When you get away from the goofy stuff, I said this about Kofi Kingston and even R-Truth. When you stop doing all the goofy stuff, when these individuals get a little bit more serious, man, I mean, it's really good. I always said that about Matt Riddle. Do you guys remember Matt Riddle? Dude ran down on his little scooter 5000. The 420 dude, yeah, bro. Matt Riddle was a goofball. But serious Matt Riddle was great. I mean, like, when he got serious, like, his wrestling in the ring, you had to put the remote down. Because there was a side of him when he's serious and he's wrestling. You can't look away. It's great. Serious. When he got pissed off, like, I remember there was a split screen feud that he was in. I forgot what it was, damn. But I remember he was in a split screen. And he was so pissed off, and it was so good. Maybe it was like Seth Rollins or something, but it was so good. So there's a time to be goofy and a goofball, and then there's times where we're like, wait, if they have more in them, you might as well utilize it. So solid backstage catering. Dragonuv over here. Gunther and Sammy, I went over solid backstage back and forth. Breakker and Jey Uso. So where am I? IC title tournament. Sheamus, Ludwig, Strowman. P.D. Dunne attacks Sheamus. Strowman pins Kaiser via pinfall off of a power slam. That's all I have in my notes. This was not entertaining for BC at all. Just wasn't. Again, Strowman advances, pinning Kaiser. Sheamus was taken out via Pete Dunne. It's so weird. They ended No Mercy, which I feel was a good show, by the way. They ended the show with P.D. Dunne attacking Trick Williams, the referee of All Ego Ethan Page versus Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry. And then they just ended it with P.D. Dunne. And you wonder why the crowd was like, is that it? Pete Dunne? Nobody cares. Pete Dunne shows up and he attacks Sheamus. So this is just, we keep doing Pete Dunne and Sheamus as if anybody cares. But hey, they might put on a banger and give us 6 stars. Main event, Damian Priest and Jey Uso defeated Finn Balor and J.D. McDonald's of the Judgment Day. Uso pins McDonald's. Rhea is hopping around on one leg during this match, chases off Liv Morgan with that one leg. And then the show ends with Jey Uso and Damien Priest shaking hands in mutual respect. And they tried to cut it off. I think they did cut it off. Like you saw Damien acknowledge Jey, and then he goes over with his hand extended, and Hunter's like, end it! No! Mutual respect! BC already called us off on that. Called us out on that. Stop. Cut the feed. So Damien's about to give mutual respect to Jey Uso, and they cut the feed. Mutual respect ends the show. But it didn't look like this one was on Hunter. This was just Damien shaking Jay's hand. And we go on with this weird Jey Uso mommy storyline, which Rikishi, Daddy Uso, strictly said better not happen. I don't want to see that for Jey Uso. He deserves better storytelling, better booking. To which Hunter's like, oh yeah? Well, now I'm going to punish Jey Uso and you. And he is going into the storyline with mommy. That's what I got for you guys, man. Monday Night Raw 9/2/24. This has been a lot of fun, this review, at least for BC. I'm hopped up on a lot of coffee. And there's a lot to do today, so I have no choice but to be hopped up on a lot of coffee and ready to be amplified. So hopefully you guys rock out the rest of your, what is this, Tuesday now? Monday is the review. It's Tuesday. Hopefully you guys rock out the rest of this day. NXT is tonight. If I'm able to catch any, I'll speak about it tomorrow at some point. Maybe have some AEW talk heading into Dynamite. Either way, I'm going to hope to have an upload for you guys at some point over the next 24 hours. So just stay subscribed and notified. You guys know the deal. Also, before I check out too, there was, I had a super thanks super chat. First of all, JR9 Gaming with that 2-spot. That's the NXT Weekly Roundup, but it's the No Mercy edition. And if you caught the review yesterday, I know some of you guys did. I know NXT is not your cup of coffee. I totally understand. But a bunch of you guys did catch that review. I appreciate you guys and the response. You guys really like the green light, yellow light, red light review that we did. That was different. And it was a lot of fun doing it. I'm glad you guys really like that. So maybe we'll do something like that in the future for other events. But yeah, if you thought BC's review was on that was pretty good. JR9 also goes very in-depth, very good review. We were in sync on a lot of it too. So check out JR9's weekly roundup of the No Mercy PLE event. Still pay-per-view to BC. Check that out. That's in yesterday's upload, the NXT Amplified Review, No Mercy, in the comments, JR9 Gaming's No Mercy Roundup. And also Ragin, I believe. Ragin with us, with a Booker T super thanks, super chat. That thanks button down below. $5 Booker T. Coffee super chat. Ragin says, I knew No Mercy wouldn't let me down. Things were logical and no BS handshakes. I'm looking forward to NXT on Tuesday thanks to the debut of Julia. Roxy is fire as always, and Jade is going to be a major star in the future. Julia and Roxy are going to be the match of the year, I believe. I am so looking forward to Julia and Roxy. Ragin, I appreciate that. Appreciate you. And I cannot wait for Julia and Roxy. Guys, until next time, there will be that next time. Top guys, we're out. BC in the unit. Saying check you. Deuces, Zeus's, yeet. Peace.